Assalamu alaikum, dear students. My name is Muhammad Khalid, and I'm going to guide you in the very informative and important course Geography of Pakistan and the Border Issues, crucial for security. It is week 5th, and we are going to have a discussion on lesson 9 and 10th. Our today's discussion topic is People of Pakistan, means the population of Pakistan, the inhabitants of Pakistan. Clear? Or in short, we say the public of Pakistan. Objectives of our discussion will remain get information about the different races of Pakistan, get familiar with popular religions of Pakistan, know and draw differences among the different sects, compare the current social and the religious conflict plus the political conflicts in the historical context. Dear students, you all are well aware that the definition of state, that for example, Pakistan is a state, India is a state, Bangladesh is a state, Saudi Arabia is a state, America is a state. So, state actually is a political body, clear, that uh, constitutes and operates the entire system. Thereby, the word state is very important. It is a concept of the political thought. What makes a state? There are four major elements of the state. Out of one is population. The very first thing is that a state means that there must be a certain area, mean a well defined boundary of a country. Clear? Clear? The regions, there will be a well defined boundary. For example, Pakistan's borders, we have studied in the previous lessons that Pakistan's total area, its borders with China, India, Afghanistan, even with Russia. Fine. So they are the well-defined boundaries. Each and every inch has been made. Clear? And Survey of Pakistan is a department that covers and keep eye on the geographical boundaries of Pakistan, and they issue the different sort of maps. And you have seen that in the similar is with India and with every country. Second thing is that there should be a defined number of people. A defined number of people. I mean, there should be a specific people who own that land. Clear? They own that land. Fine. And number three, and number three is the writ of the government. There should be a political system. I mean, there should be a democracy or presidential order or kingship or oligarchy or whatsoever. Fine. But there must be a set running political system, and that political body should have controlled, that is called writ, WRIT, writ over the entire elements of its all the entire elements, mean on the geographical locations, on the people of Pakistan. There should be a constitution, and that should be running, and the lives of people must be functionalized accordingly. These four elements are called uh, elements, the constituent elements of the state. In case of any element is missed, that state become a failure state. Fine. Coming back to the point that, for example, in the present 19th century, uh, political thoughts and political formation of the countries, or most of the countries are nationalists, because after the First World War, many countries were under the caliphate of Ottoman caliphs, like Saudi Arabia, Libya, Lebanon, Iraq, like uh, means like Armenia, Cyprus, Greeks. They were the countries even in Europe under the administration of the Ottoman Empire. But in 1920, the Ottomans lost the war in First World First World War, and they were deprived from all their areas. Those areas were converted later on the national states. For example, Saudi Arabia became one state, Syria became one state, Lebanon became one state, Iraq became one state. Fine. So gradually these areas were converted into nationalist countries, and they were given their own anthems, their own rules and regulations, rituals, armies, traditions, and much more. Fine. Now, similarly, population plays a very vital role. That countries have been divided on the name of certain populations and nationalisms. Thereby, you see that Syrians called Syrians, and the population of Syria is comprising on the population of Syria. Similarly, in Pakistan, India, once united India before 1947, everybody was the citizen of India according to the definition of the state. But now, when partition happened, now no Pakistani can claim to be a citizen of India at the same time. Similarly, no citizen of India can claim to be the citizen of Pakistan. They won't be provided those rights which they are enjoying in India, they are not likely to be enjoyed in Pakistan. However, people have their relations, people have their relatives over there, although the Muslims are of both Muslim of India and Muslim of Pakistan. So Muslim of Indian Muslim comes into Pakistan, he may not have as constitutional rights as a Muslim of Pakistani Muslim gets, and similarly a Pakistani Muslim may not have the rights in India as the Indian nationalists. Thereby, the definition of population is very important, because later on when there is a conflict, there is a conflict that whether uh, the country controlling a specific area has the right over the population or not. And same is the dispute with Kashmir, that Indians, Hindus claim Kashmir to be the integral part of their state. Yet, the same time, they have changed the position 37 by the 370, and they want to annex India. But the horrific thing they are doing is that they are changing the demography of the people. That the native people, the native Muslims, which are living for centuries over there, are being deprived from their property. The lands are being transferred to the Hindus, and a new settlement is being emerged, and it is going to be experimented like once in Palestine, that the Jews in 1920 or after, they came just like refugees. They migrated from America, Texas, from Italy or France or Germany, and they got settled there, and they took refuge under the Caliphate of Ottoman Caliphate. But later on, what happened during that time when uh, Ottoman Caliphate downfalled, and they claimed their own Zionist state just because they purchased the land. So this is what the population is very important. So second thing is that why knowing about the population is important, because once a person is aiming to identify the problems of the country, the problems of the state, that problems basically are these problems of the people within. Clear? Because a state is the gradual development. Fine. A state basically is the collection of individual. As Dr. Lama Iqbal says, फर्द कायम रब्ते मिल्लत से है, तन्हा कुछ नहीं, मौज है दरिया में, बैरून दरिया कुछ नहीं, और हर फर्द है मिल्लत के मुकद्दर का सितारा. That the state is made by the people. Fine. So every individual has its own role in the development of the state. So the people, the inhabitants of the state, they actually settle the taste and direction of the state. So population, knowing about the population is, for example, if you want to analyze that the problem of India, why Indians are so aggressive and they are against Muslims and other minorities, we have to know about that the chemistry of those people, the origin of those people, the beliefs of those people, the culture of those people. And similarly, let's compare with Pakistan, that why Sindhis are against Punjabis and why Punjabis have a some sort of reservations regarding the other countries. So there is a strong need to understand that what type of people we all are, where do we come from, what were our culture, what are our basic beliefs, and how these beliefs are going to play in politics, in country's development, in management, in bureaucracy. Fine. So this is a very significant topic in context to explore the problems being faced in all platforms and all states, in social life as well as in the official life of the country, and how these are significant. Thereby we believe this, that knowing about the people is very important. Let's read it, and it's a very graphic text. I will simply read it, and with passage of time I will try to explain it. Introduction. The area currently occupied by Pakistan has long been a route of the military conquest and entrepot for the peoples and cultures. It is therefore a significant culture and ethnic melting pot. The very first thing they say, that the area on which Pakistan is currently based was not a well inhabited area. This can be say as a barren terrain full of thickest jungles, clear, meadows, fine, and there was not any strong or any systematic government. Yes, there were the strong tribes existing in these areas. For example, there were very few cities where a strong government was there, but remain there were the tribes. For example, I will just start from Peshawar. Peshawar is a prehistoric city, and it was the door for all the conquerors uh, from the Arabs, even from Central Asia, especially Mughals and Lodhis and all others. They came from this route. Fine. Second very important city that we can claim is in this route. In this route, may be called, the very next is Bhera. If you travel on the motorway, after you cross the Salt Range, there is a very important city, Bhera. Clear? Then another city at the same route you follow. If you go through, head towards Faisalabad, Cheniot, fine, and Lahore. In this route, these were the historical cities. Okay. The second very important historical city can be called, that was Multan. Fine. Multan was another historical city. Thatta, Sialkot. Fine. So these were a few historical cities, and if you go some much prehistoric time, then Sialkot, Multan, and Texla, they are called, they're deemed to be very much historical. Well, these areas are called Punjab region, for example, that there was no settled government, but there were very strong tribes over there. These areas called Doabs. Doab mean the where the rivers flow and the land between the two middle rivers. Fine. So here were the Jats and Gakhards and all others. They were the area. In short, this area was simply uh, owned by the tribes, and similar is the Pashtun belt, that there were the people from the tribes. Fine. There were a lots of people living in tribes, and they were having their own rule, and sometimes they accepted the central government from Delhi or from Afghanistan, and often they had their own Sardar or they have their own chieftain. For example, the very important example is uh, Khatak, uh, that were against, remain against uh, Khushal Khan Khattak. He remained against the against the Mughal monopoly, and he wanted to reclaim the distinct importance of the Pashtuns. I think so that this may be the Pashtun nationalism that is very rooted in the history. In short, this is the huge background of the discussion. The next discussion will be in the next clip. We'll discuss these things in detail. Thank you very much.